tags for it. So you do
Now
need a
it
license to hunt any animal in Texas, and if you happen to come across a Bigfoot, you would need a regular Texas hunting license to hunt Bigfoot.
it was that was actually like that was very recent, and it was Oklahoma, and it was more political than anything else. It got shot down, but now from what I heard, and I don't know how true this is, that they're offering a $1.2 million reward for a Bigfoot.
Well,
I think that's stupid, and I think it's
How
ridiculous.
I do too.
how much?
Um,
How much, Mike? 1.2.
yeah, I think so, or 2.1.
Oh,
I'm a little dyslexic.
There's a preacher down the road here. Last deer season, which would have been in November, he was up here on top of the cheat up here, Cheat Mountain, like you gonna go to the office. First stop up the first top. He was up in there deer hunting, and he seen this thing coming. A big black, walking on feet like us. Now he wouldn't exaggerate. Anyway, he said he scoped it to see if it was a male or female. It was a male. Intention to shoot.
hello, listeners. Hello, Sonny. How you doing, Sonny?
What's going on, man? I'm looking back at our guest's last name again. He just told us how to pronounce it, and I already forgot how to pronounce it.
Familant.
Mike, will you introduce yourself?
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Mike Familant. How's everybody doing? Thanks for having me on, guys. I super appreciate it.
No, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Mike, you have your own YouTube show, right?
I do, yes. It's called In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. So basically, I'm a Bigfoot researcher, and I decided that I wanted to film a show about Bigfoot research because like all the shows on TV are like fake and not real and stuff. So I was like, let's make a just show about Bigfooting. I kind of like video editing, and so it turned into now we're up to season 5, filming season 5 right now. So it's a big hit. Everybody seems to enjoy it. So
That's awesome. Where are you Bigfooting?
oh, where aren't we Bigfooting is the question. We we've been all up and down the East Coast. So Maine to Florida, we've filmed episodes in. And this year we're actually going to Michigan, Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, Maine, Massachusetts, the Adirondacks. I think that's it.
Wait. One of the first places you said was Florida.
Mhm.
Of course, there's a Bigfoot in Florida.
Oh yeah, sure.
And is the proper name like Bigfoot? Like, if you meet another like Bigfoot like researcher, do you refer to it as like Bigfoot, or is there like another name that's used in the Bigfooting societies?
Bigfoot is kind of the catch-all term, and that was coined by somebody. I wish I knew more details about the story, but they out in California, they were one of the loggers. They were on this logging road, and they found like a really big footprint, and they casted it, and no one really everybody had local names for this thing. So Sasquatch, Grassman is in Ohio, Skunk Ape is in Florida. Every kind of localized names. Big Red Eye is New Jersey, North Jersey more specifically. But so the newspaper got hold of the story, and they just the editor called the name Bigfoot, and it kind of stuck. Another name is common name is like Sasquatch or Yeti that people are very familiar with. So yeah.
So when you say research, what does your research entail?
Well, typically what we'll do is we'll pick a location that is has a potential for Bigfoot activity. It doesn't necessarily have to have like sightings or anything like that, but we'll pick that area and do some research about it, find some witnesses in that area, and we'll go to this location. We'll camp for usually 3 or 4 nights. We'll speak to these witnesses. We'll get their stories, kind of, try different, do day hikes and night hikes, and try to pin down where we could actually have the best chance at some activity.
So then, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like your research entails a more of actual boots on the ground hunting for Bigfoot.
I like going out and looking like for physical stuff. There's a million different ways that you can research Bigfoot, and a lot of them are plotting things on a map and going back and doing historical sightings and looking through witness statements and all interviewing witnesses and all that stuff. Personally, I like to get out there because I like the woods and I like camping. So I've done a lot of that research in New Jersey, which if you want to talk about later, I have a pretty good kind of theory about how Bigfoot's travel around New Jersey.
Wow.
Let's hear it. I want to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I adapted this theory through a professor. I'm not sure of his name. He's down out of Galloway, New Jersey. But he had this theory that Bigfoot kind of travel around the state counterclockwise. And so I wanted to look more into this theory because he's a very credible person. So I looked into it, and I actually was able to dig a little bit deeper into his theory and kind of sifted it around. So every third year, so you look at New Jersey on a map, it kind of looks like Jersey. And you go counterclockwise around the state. Every third year, sightings in whatever part of the state that you're looking at increase by like 70 to 80%. So we take that information, and you can pretty much track Bigfoot around the state. So, for example, Bigfoot at this point in time are up in North Jersey by me, and they're going to be up, migrating again, not migrating, but traveling counterclockwise around the state. I believe they're nomadic, and I believe they follow the food. And I believe they eat the same things that bear eat, which would be kind of garbage, mostly berries, and maybe sometimes, a small animal or something like that. So, but I do think berries are their, 80% of their diet. So now you look into and pull the story back a little bit further and dig a little bit deeper. If you take a berry bush and strip it complete, clean of all the berries, it takes 3 years for the berries to come back. So that would support my hypothesis that they're not migratory, however nomadic, and they follow the food.
So like your theory is like they're just like other like migratory like animals that basically follow
Food.
I
where
think
food goes.
I think they're more like early humans, where they're nomadic and they don't have a set area that they're in. However, they just kind of, hunter-gatherers following the food source.
Have you ever seen one, Mike? Like a sighting of your own?
No, I don't think so. The closest thing, I have gotten all types of evidence besides actually physically seeing and recording one. Footprints, vocalizations, rock throws, tree breaks, you name it, I've captured it. And through either voice recording, video, whatever. But I was down in the Pine Barrens before I started filming the show, and we were walking down this river, and it was, we walked, me and my buddy at the time, we walked maybe 3 miles back into the woods, and he started pointing to something. I didn't see it, so I took my camera, I just started like rapid firing, and we got back, we were looking at the pictures, and you can kind of see like a tan-shaped cylindrical head sticking up above a rock. But
Wow.
it was so far away. It's probably, it was 75 yards, we figured. So that, I'm never going to release those photos because it's just another blob in the woods.
And are there bears in New Jersey? I think there are.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
What, black and brown, or just black?
No, just black bears. Mostly in the northern part of the state up by me. However, they have been sighted in all of New Jersey's 21 counties.
Now, earlier you said you believe, or you have reason to believe that they being Bigfoots have a similar diet to that of bears.
Mm-hmm.
If that is the case, then wouldn't your theory about the berries taking 3 years to grow berries back, or the berry bushes taking 3 years to grow berries back, wouldn't that theory also apply to bears? I mean,
bears are not migratory. They hibernate, so they stay in one area all year round.
right.
But that's why.
Yeah, Mike, I apologize for
Mm-hmm.
Sonny. When he was little, he never watched Yogi Bear. Never watched Yogi Bear. I mean, what do you think they do during the winter, Sonny?
But
And-
okay, full disclosure here, Mike. I'm a skeptic.
You're good people. I'm going to say this once. I'm going to say it simple. And I hope to God, for your sakes, you all listen. There are no abominable snowmen. There are no Sasquatches. There are no big feet.
Sure.
But I mean, I want to believe, because I want to believe in, like, I guess, like, for lack of better terminology, the magic of the wilderness, right? Bigfoot brings some magic to the deep woods. And
But it has to be real. Bigfoot has to be real. It has to. I mean, think about it. Think about how much evidence is out there. You talk about Florida, Mike.
Sure.
Is there like evidence with the Seminole like Indians like actually documenting like certain sightings?
Almost every North American tribe has a story of a Bigfoot, and it's not like the god of water. It's like, here's a bear, here's an eagle, here's a Bigfoot, and that's how they describe him. They look up to this. They stay away from this person or this creature, and that's how it comes up in their stories. You take that and you think about the Native American tribes at that time. They don't speak the same language. They don't communicate with each other, yet they all had the same story of an 8-foot tall hairy man in the woods.
The other thing that I find like fascinating, Mike, is you have experienced like hunters that come out saying, this is what like I saw. And I would think an experienced hunter would know the difference between, oh my gosh, that's an 8-foot creature I've never seen before, and a black bear.
What is strikingly interesting about witnesses and Bigfoot sightings is it's not specified to one walk of life. There's doctors, lawyers, police officers. I'm a firefighter. Everybody under the sun, educated, uneducated, can't speak English. Everybody has experienced this phenomenon, and that really is interesting because it's not specific to one form of people.
I remember when I was little, Mike, the one thing that completely freaked me out, and I would have nightmares at night, was when I saw that famous Bigfoot video that was recorded in 1967. I believe it's called the
Patterson-Gimlin film out in California.
The Patterson-Gimlin film, and it's
Gimlin. Yes.
And it's known as like one of the best pieces of evidence for Bigfoot, right?
One of the best and first, really, first film that gained huge nationwide attention. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a legit film. There's a lot of controversy about it. I think we were talking a little bit before the show, and I was like, listen, we could do a whole show on this, and if anybody's interested, go on YouTube, just type in, there's brand new 4K footage of it that just came out, which is really neat. Something definitely to check out.
What are some of the controversies surrounding that video?
There's been a couple different people that have come forward and said that they were the person in the suit. Yeah. So they think it's a suit and a person walking in it.
Pretty big. It would have to be a big person, because at least in the video he looked that
huge, right?
It was actually, it's 6'7", so it's not outside of human range. However, to make a costume like that in 1967 would have cost so much money, like crazy amounts of money. And also, like, you could, well, one, it's female. I know, like, if I were trying to hoax somebody, I don't know, especially back then, if I would make it a female. That would be kind of strange.
Yeah,
Right.
especially like 1967. We all knew how sexist people were back in 1967, so it would have definitely been male.
And yeah, and if you look, like, you could see muscles, movement on its leg, like that. That's something that is, again, to make something like that in 1967 would be unheard of.
That's what did it for me. I
Hmm.
mean, at first you're looking at it and you're thinking this thing is fake, and then you like fly back once you see the muscles like actually moving.
Sure, sure.
That's what freaks you out. You're like, wait a second, that's
Uh,
Yeah,
costumes don't do that.
but one of the red flags is that they actually went out to look for Bigfoot
that day and found him.
and found him. Yeah, that's
So
lucky. And they got, pretty clear, good video of it. So I think that anybody that's interested in the subject should definitely go on YouTube and check it out and make your own opinion for it.
Mike, what do when you're out there looking for Bigfoot, what do you do? I mean, do you set up game cameras? You're just spotlighting? How do you go about that?
We try to incorporate every different way to get evidence that we can. So we do set up game cameras. There's a lot of controversy about that they do or don't work. Um, I have audio recorders going 24/7. I have 3 of them going. I can triangulate them so that way if we do get a vocalization, we can actually like pinpoint where it came from,
And I'm not saying it was a UFO,
which
but
is really
it was
cool.
definitely something.
We do go out. We have thermal imaging cameras, so at night we'll go out and try to get audio or some sort of physical Bigfoot approaching us. During the day, we'll go out and look for evidence such as footprints, tree breaks, anything out of the ordinary, hair and stuff that you'd be able to find at night.
So like you just said, hair. Do you ever find hair?
No, hair is like like a piece of gold. It's people have found hair though, which is interesting, and 99% of the time it comes back as like a deer or a bear or a dog. But what's cool is the other 1%, and this is what Sonny, I challenge you because I know you're a self-proclaimed skeptic. So I would like you to try to think of a logical explanation for this. Is I have a piece of hair that was sent me to me by a friend, along with the DNA paperwork and what the hair, what it came back as. This is found in Michigan in 2014, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan actually, and it came back as a primate of unknown origin.
Oh wow. I just my thing is like with all the hunters and all the game cameras and all the highways, like you would think at one point or another a Bigfoot would get hit by a car. Or
Sure.
Or we catch one on a game camera somewhere.
Sure, we have and they have. Yep.
Bigfoot have been caught on game cameras?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's one, a very famous one in Vermont, of a Bigfoot crouching down with a baby on its back, or grabbing an apple from an apple tree. We're actually going to be up there investigating that. We're going to be the only people that have been up there investigating that ever. And then you also have the Jacobson photo, which was taken out in Pennsylvania. That's a very interesting photo as well. I think Bigfoot, in order to remain hidden for this amount of time, has to have some level of intelligence. That's why it avoids trail cameras, and we don't have a lot of trail camera footage. That's why it avoids highways and places where it could get hit by a car. Although sometimes, like the Jacobson photo and the Vermont trail camera photo, that kind of happens. So Bigfoot are highly intelligent. We have never found a body. We haven't found any bones. We haven't found their nests or how they do what they do.
I
So
thought I
Bigfoot.
heard an account of a nest getting found though.
Yeah, I mean, there's nests do get found.
Yeah.
Not active, I think, unfortunately, but again, it's like finding a hair. It's like, yeah, again, it's very, very extremely rare.
I want to believe, but
And
part of me wants it to be real. I really do. But the other part of me doesn't want Bigfoot to be found because that changes, right? We
listen,
actually find a Bigfoot, then we're looking at real scientists who are jumping in, who are going to start researching, and then it's just not fun anymore. It turns into work, I think.
I challenge anybody, especially skeptics, to come and ask questions because I think that shows that they're open to the idea and the possibility. There's a lot of people that are just closed-minded and say, no, there's no possibility that that's real. And I forget who said this quote,
Because
but
then
yeah, a world without like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster is such like a better mysterious world than one without it, you know?
what is the most credible evidence that you've seen that has just convinced you that, yeah, he's out there?
It would have to be, I mean, there's a lot of cool evidence, a lot of awesome videos, a lot of, cool stories, photographs, and stuff like that. But I think he's out there because of personal experiences, and things that I know are true, and I know what happened. Those are the things that make me almost for sure know that they're out there.
Can you give us like the top three personal
Top three?
experiences?
Sure, yeah. Shortly after I got into Bigfooting, I was in Florida with a couple of my buddies, and we were out camping in the Green Swamp. It's a huge wilderness area in the middle of Florida. I mean, so many Bigfoot sightings out there. So we were doing a night hike, and I was doing some vocalizations, and we saw two sets of or two pairs of like reflecting eyes, and one was like a light blue, and the other was like a reddish orange, like almost like a fireball. And we were sitting there looking at it. We thought it was people because I just got into Bigfooting. I didn't know that people don't have eye shine. um, so then I was like, oh, it's either a person or like an owl, because there could be like a branch there and it's sitting on a branch or whatever. Um, so one set of eyes turned and looked at the other set of eyes, turned and looked back, blinked, and we ran. So that was like really cool, and that's what really kind of fed my enthusiasm to try to find what's out there. My first encounter, I was in Florida, and we were camping with this Bigfoot organization, and it was late on the last night. We had no activity, and we got rock throws, and they landed 5 to 10 feet away from our like little fire where we were sitting, and happened 5 times, and we thought it was like the expedition organizers like messing with us. Um, but we knew it wasn't because my buddy threw a rock back, and I said that wasn't a good idea. I was scared. This is my first time ever camping, and so he threw a rock back, and then like a rock this size landed 5 feet from us. So then it was done. Nothing else happened. We stayed up the rest of the night. When the sun came up, we did some measurements, and way outside of human range. It was like the closest it could have been was like 100 yards away, because you could, with the trajectory and we did all this, the measurements and everything. You could hear it crashing, the rocks crashing down through the trees, and you could kind of like hear the trajectory of it coming down. So they were thrown from a long way away, and where we were and the terrain and everything, at least 100 yards away. So I don't know anybody that can throw a rock with that much accuracy 100 yards.
How big was the rock?
The first 5 rocks were probably fist size, a little bit smaller, a golf ball to like baseball sized. But the second rock was, I mean, you're looking at, I mean, basketball ish.
Bigfoot hunting. I mean, there are some. My understanding is there are some people that think that they should shoot a Bigfoot for research.
Sure.
What's your position on that?
I'm against hunting the Bigfoot, The reason why I got into it was because I want to know what threw rocks at me. And once I find that out, then I don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know is, yes, science probably does need a body. And if we want to get the species recognized, then yeah, I mean, you're going to have to do what you have to do. However, that's not why I'm into it. And if, if people are into it for that reason, then more power to you.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, no, I have not. I've been hunting since I was little. I love hunting's my number one favorite thing to do, I guess. As far as the hobby's concerned, I've been doing it since I was a kid, and I too go into the woods to get lost and get away from people, right? But
Absolutely.
I don't think I would ever want to shoot a Bigfoot.
Hunters have described on multiple occasions, more than one hunter has described actually having the Bigfoot in the crosshairs and not being able to shoot it because it looked like a person. It was more person than animal. So you have hunters like yourself that have been in the woods their entire lives, and they have this profound experience where they see something that their entire life they didn't think existed. That's
What's crazy though is that scientists are always finding new species, new animals on a
Sure.
daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Every day they're finding new species, and
yeah, and species that have, like, the native people have been around. Like for example, the okapi. It's like a half. It's mostly related to a horse, but it looks like a half zebra, half kind of donkey. Found in Africa, I think, or South America, I forget. But the locals knew about this half thing, and they told people that came in from the outside or scientists, and they're like, "Look, we have a half zebra, half donkey thing running around here." Science was like, "Yeah, okay, right." And then, lo and behold, years later, now we have okapis. So why couldn't that be the same for a Bigfoot?
yeah. Now, if I would have found that okapi, it was half mule, half zebra, I probably would have named it a Sunny instead of an okapi.
Dick.
Mike needs to tell us about your car.
Oh yeah. So, I've been kind of teasing people on our Instagram, and that's Shadow of Red Eye. But I'm making this awesome car. It's a Subaru Outback that I'm uplifting and converting into a Squatchmobile. It's actually going to be called the Bigfoot Mobile Command Center. And
off of, like, I'm sure you used a vehicle like you picked a base vehicle, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's a Subaru Outback.
Okay.
And I picked that because, in my opinion, that's the best vehicle for Bigfooting. It's got a ton of storage, it's great on gas, can do off-road no problem, and it has a ton of options that you can add to it. So that's a no-brainer to start with. I didn't want to go with a pickup truck because you'd have to sleep in the back, and that's not really I don't know. And you want something with a lot of storage because I bring a ton of stuff out just, when I go on expeditions, just to be able to film my show, really. So yeah, what we did was we did all exterior, interior upgrades. We made a cabinet system, a sleeping area, and enough storage that you could, it's a second battery, inverter, house outlets everywhere. You could charge your, whatever you want to charge, laptop. We're bringing a coffee maker, of course. Everything that you could imagine went into designing this vehicle. 360-degree lighting outside, warning lights, spotlight, search and rescue radio channels, emergency channels. It's got literally everything you could think of. So it's been a project, like a 3-month-long project, and it's taken a long time, but the grand premiere or showing, or whatever you want to call it, is going to be out at the in Allegheny National Forest at the Forest County Bigfoot Festival, which is going to be June 11th through the 13th. and that's out in northwestern Pennsylvania. So if anybody's in that area, come on out, check out the car. I'll be speaking at the event as well. I don't know, I don't have a time or a date for that yet, but yeah, I'll be out there. So come say hi.
And if people wanted to follow you, Mike, and follow your adventures, how can they do that?
Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's the channel name is Sussex County Bigfoot, or you can search In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. We have tons of stuff up there. You have solo investigations that I do. You have all the episodes from seasons 1 to 4. You have a mini series called Squatchables that I produced, which is like a Bigfooting 101. If you wanted to get into Bigfooting, watch the series. And just some interviews, podcasts that I've done previously, presentations that I've done. So there's a lot of stuff on there, and it's very interesting. Our Facebook is In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. Give us a like over there. And I think I mentioned the Instagram before was Shadow of Red Eye.
Are there any, I guess, witness accounts or sightings in Texas that you know of?
Sure. Big Thicket is the hotspot.
Big Picket. Where's
Big
that?
Thicket, Eastern Texas.
Where is that? You're in Texas. You got the guy from New Jersey telling you where Big Thicket is.
It's a big state, man.
Where is that? The guy from New Jersey.
I want to know where in Texas it was.
It's East Texas. It's called the Big Thicket. It's butts up kind of to Louisiana, Mississippi, right? Or Louisiana? Yeah.
Oh man, Mike, thank you so much, Mike, for coming on. What you're doing is so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree.
You're
No, thanks.
pursuing your passion.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's been a journey, and it's been something, like I think we talked before the show, like something I'd never imagined. I've been doing this for 11 years. You asked me 12 years ago if I'm going to be making a vehicle to go cross country looking for Bigfoot and produce a show and have 1,000 something followers and subscribers and being on a podcast with you guys. I never would have imagined that, but the journey has been such an amazing thing. And what I like to tell everybody is one of my favorite quotes by Cliff Brockman. He says, Bigfooting isn't necessarily about going out and finding Bigfoot each time. It's about going out and experiencing something that you wouldn't experience while sitting on your couch. I kind of mentioned that before. And that is so true. The reason why I go Bigfooting is not because I want to find Bigfoot. It's because I want to, it's good for me.